somebody created some porn bot program, and I've been living with it for years. And it's not just some random hacker or even a series of hackers. It is actually a policy that has been implemented on the federal level that is a campaign of sex terrorism against political dissent. There's just no other way to understand it except for that. But what I'm more concerned about is that I participated in a webinar that was done very recently concerning a company that does a lot of computer programming. And when I watched the webinar, I was understanding it from a potential of a kind of systematology that could allow not only for real time accounting, but also for a manner in which to archive information so that it is instantly accessible in order to appropriately attribute based on people who have already been cybernetically enhanced and are already running these processes, being acknowledged for what contributions they're made, as well as the appropriate tax assignments that is based on different manners in which information is categorized. They refuse to provide me with a certificate of participation. It's important to have the certificate of participation in order to know the information that was processed, that I personally processed while I was participating in that webinar. It could have been considered a potential investment in whatever the overall paradigm was. It would also be something that, were it to be appropriately secured, would have multiple uses and functions. Well, the same thing keeps happening. It's been happening for years. All these alleged customer service representatives have no idea what you're talking about. And something as simple as the very basic, necessary, I would understand, essential matters that even your customer service representative should know when it comes to being able to track things. They just don't even know how to do it. So they refer you to how many different departments? And in the meantime, I find out you literally were a part of the network that's been spying on me. And you took what that could have been to actually help compile and categorize and catalog things so that things could get paid. And you apparently claimed certain things you wanted for yourself. And you're playing this little sneaky spy shit where you want me to agree to barter with my own information because you won't disclose and authenticate who you are. You can't do that. You can't do that. And every time you do some derivative little public event, especially if you're doing it in performance of your ministerial duties, then you run the risk that you're going to get busted for the full impact. I'm looking for information that's actually part of a long-term counter-terror investigation, and you want me to barter over what? If you're just engaged in some act of anti-Semitism as a way to promote your specific product line of ladies, because some of you are actually doing that. Some of you have actually decided to regress into a form of gamesmanship where you literally broker attractive men and women as a substitute for actually engaging in genuine political discourse and assuring that there's some sort of economic cohesion in terms of some sort of paradigm for moving forward. But you guys have harvested our hormones so substantially that you've nearly bankrupted our endocrinological systems. It impacts the growth of our food. And I know that that was part of your agro-terror campaign that you're trying to market as a business model. But it's not sustainable. And the point here is that your little playing your race swapping game hasn't paid off. You've been doing this for a very long time. And using these eugenicist systematologies to try to racially or sexually extort someone into conceding, it doesn't have the long-term viability that you're trying to convince us it does. I would appreciate it if you would stop trying to cover up for the egregious mistakes that were made when certain heads of state were allowed to conspire under the auspices of supporting the anniversary of the Holocaust last year. It was one of the most disrespectful and shameful things that has ever happened. When you allow for somebody to come and set up a couple of quick business deals so that then he can go get away to Switzerland while you're distracting a bunch of other people with a festival connected to commemorating the Holocaust, right as we are on the cusp of a global Holocaust, there is a way of remembering. You know what I mean? You're responsible for every fucking cow. You're responsible for the cows. That's what you agreed to. You're responsible for your cows. your beautiful, gentle cows. You don't get to farm out a bunch of duplicates and tell the ladies to keep it quiet. It's not confidential, asshole.